Good evening, everyone, and how are you? This is Charlie Riverman here, just because I love you. Interesting statement, isn't it? Um, Hello, Marlene. How are you? I love you, darling. It's a pleasure to be able to share this emotion to so many people um, at the same time, and know that it really is from my heart. This week has been probably an adventure for all of us, a little stressful here and a little upsetting there. And I know in my own journey this week, I have been triggered so many times by things that have either upset me or brought up anger within me or brought up suffering and sadness, past memories, that it's been a roller coaster ride. And as I prepare to do my Presence of Light talk in the morning, the topic came up as inner simplicity and beauty. And I don't know where that's going to lead me. But I do know that each of us right now are emotionally charged in ways that are not healthy. And it's important for us right now to really focus on that inner self. And you know exactly what it is that you need to do. The problem is allowing yourself to do it. Because we have so much entanglement with the world around us that it's hard to say, I need time for me. And I just want to share that it's very important now that everybody takes some time for themselves, because that's where love is found, is deep within ourselves. And we need to start sharing that again, rather than sharing the messages about politics and the messages about hatred and violence and the pain and the suffering and who is dissing who and who is earning $85 billion because they're doing things illegally. That's all going to keep going until each one of us step outside of that matrix and come back to this inner presence of love that we are. So I just wanted to drop in, and I posted something I read this morning that I wrote a couple of years ago, and I just want to read it to you. It struck a chord then, and it struck a chord today as I reread it and posted it. And I questioned, wow, that was 2 years ago and we're still going through this. And how I wished it would be so much quicker. How in a magical instant, all of this would just disappear and we could live once again in harmony and balance. But I know that's just my wishful thinking. And I know it can happen if enough of us tune into that. But the question is, how many of us are really tuning in to who we truly are and expressing that without being triggered, without saying mean and hateful things, without screaming and hollering at each other, without bullying each other, without relishing the separation and the competition between my side and your side. This is not healthy. And we have children, young children, who are watching this and taking notes. And this is not a good thing, because we'll be gone, but they'll be in charge. And if we don't bring them back to a place of respect for loving each other and caring about each other, then humanity is going to take turns that it never even dreamed of in the wrong direction. So I wrote this, and I just want to read it to you. Each of us are now moving beyond our visions into the vastness of cosmic trust. Our bodies are not quite ready yet. However, they are being prepared with every wave that crashes into us and takes us to the ocean floor. We may gasp and gurgle as we are tossed about in what feels like a loss of control, feeling quite separated and abused. Yet, like the sand on the rocks, we are being transformed by forces of creation, removing all that will no longer be necessary. And even though that's 2 years old, when I read it this morning, I said how important it is to remember that this is a process that we're going through. And every bit of the frustration and the physical and emotional stress that we're going through is part of that expansion. It's part of coming into that cosmic trust. Trusting ourselves beyond anything we ever imagined in our lifetime or ever could imagine from the perspective which we are coming from. We're expanding, we're evolving, we're tapping into who we truly are, which for most people sounds like la la land when I speak, or they, tell me to, they make fun of me, whatever. Doesn't matter. Because I know in my heart that each of us are so much more than what we appear to be. And until we really come back into that inner self, that heart space, that resonant field that we truly are, we're going to be lost for a long, long period of what we here on earth call time. Each of you are special. Each of you are loved. Each of you are loved. And I just wanted to pop on and just remind you that what you're going through is what we are all going through in many millions of different forms, and not all at the same time. But each one of us has the power to let go of suffering and start to look for the places where we find peace, where we find calmness, where we find self-engagement for higher purposes. And come to those moments and start to expand those, open them up, rather than allowing the world to compress us down. Open up further. And when you think, oh, I can't do this, go one more time and go further and further. And you'll realize that the power that comes through your heart of who you truly are is all that the world needs. It isn't something extravagant or a new technology. It isn't an invention. It isn't battery operated. It isn't Wi-Fi ready. It's you. That's all the world is waiting for, is you to show up and be who you truly are in your heart. The one that you've got locked away in there, the one that suffered as a child and has suffered through life. And suffering is all about the ego. It's all about this mind. The mind suffers. And the mind will create suffering throughout our whole physical beingness. So when we shift in our heart, we release that energy, clears the mind, clears the body, and we come back into a balance. And that's what my show tomorrow may be about inner simplicity and beauty. Be the inner simplicity and beauty that you are, wherever you are, whoever you are. Don't worry about what you look like, what you think, what you're wearing, where you live. That's all outside of us. It's who you are that's living inside of you. That is the most important thing we need to focus on right now. And so I just wanted to thank you all for being here and going through this with me. When I read those notes, that note this morning that I wrote it, I said, wow, that's 2 years. And then I said, well, if I think about it, it's been longer than 2 years. And many of us have been going on this longer than 10 years, 20 years. And it gets old, very old. But the key is keep going. Keep tapping into who you are within your heart. Keep releasing it, no matter how painful it is, no matter how many times you're made fun of, no matter how many times somebody tells you, you can't do that here. Defy them to be who you are, because that's the truth. And in the end, it's all about truth. As we witness in the world, those who are living in falsity are being called out left and right. No matter how much money they have, no matter how much power they have, no matter how influential they have been in their lifetime, if they're not living from the heart, they're being called to pay a price right now. So I bless you, and I love you, and I thank you, and I will be doing my Presence of Light show on Humanity Healing tomorrow morning. And for those of you who know that, great. If you can be with me, that's wonderful. If not, it's always in the replays, and I always post them. And I just want to say thank you to all of you for listening and allowing me to have this opportunity to share part of myself that has been quiet for a long, long time. I'm complete. Y'all have a great, great night. Linda, Marlene, Stephen, Linda, Katie, William from Korea, bless you. Kathy, always a joy to see all of your names. I must say that all of you who are my Facebook friends, I really adore. There's not one of you that I intentionally would want to delete, even though we may be of differences of opinions and etc. You are all just amazing beings, and I'm so glad to be able to share with you. And with that, I'm complete, and I thank you. And may your Friday be a little brighter. And if it gets too rough, sink back into your heart and know that's your safe spot. That's your safe spot. Come back into that safe spot and let the rest of the world play itself out. It wants to suck you into it. It wants to suck you into that chaos. You're more powerful than that. Stand in your presence. Stand in your beingness. Stand in your heart. And say, no. I love me too much to sacrifice myself to that insanity. With that, I'm complete. I love you. Bless you. Thank you. And have a good evening. Bye-bye. If I can figure out how to shut it off. The human in me is still here. Do I want to end this live video? Not really, but I will. Ta-ta.